Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Z&D Academy Course Summaries. If you're passionate about learning and want to help us make authentic Islamic knowledge accessible, make sure to subscribe, like, comment, and share. Today, we're diving into a powerful explainer all about the absolute bedrock of our faith, Tawhid. And since we want this to be super practical, we're going to focus heavily on your specific role in all of this.
Oh, here's a quick look at our roadmap for this explainer. 1. An introduction to Tawhid. 2. Defining the terminology. 3. Tawhid from the perspective of the servant's actions. 4. The Lord's rights. 5. Our Quranic anchors. And finally, 6. Our duty as believers. Let's get right into it.
Section 1. Introduction to Tawhid, Setting the Foundation.
Okay, so before we can truly grasp what Tawhid actually is, we kind of need to clear up what it isn't. When you first start diving into Islamic theology, it's super easy to get tripped up by the wording. So think about this. Is Tawhid the act of making God one? Because, when we say we're unifying or making something one, it usually implies that it used to be scattered or divided up.
Well, the answer is a resounding no. Allah's oneness is an eternal reality. It's definitely not something we create or put together. The divine isn't some collection of multiple entities that we somehow mold into one. Actually, Tawhid is the knowledge, the absolute rock-solid belief, and the firm acknowledgement that He is already one. We aren't making Him one, we're just aligning our own hearts with the ultimate reality of His oneness.
Moving on to Section 2, Defining the Terminology, the Pure Roots. To really wrap our heads around this concept, we need to bypass a lot of the later philosophical rhetoric and go straight back to the pure Arabic roots. Linguistically, the root of Tawhid comes down to two absolutely beautiful Arabic words, al-ifrad and al-infirad. Basically, this literally means to single something out entirely. It's the act of acknowledging that this subject is utterly unique, totally independent, and completely free of any peers, likeness, or equivalence whatsoever.
Now, here's where your role really comes into focus. True Tawhid isn't just some abstract intellectual exercise. It is a completely holistic state that demands the participation of your entire being. Think about it. It requires the statement of the heart, which is your internal belief and acknowledgement. Then there's the action of the heart, meaning your internal submission, love, and awe of Allah. But it doesn't stop there. It also requires the statement of the tongue, through your declaration of faith and constant dhikr. And finally, the action of the limbs, which is your actual physical worship, like praying and fasting. You see how it involves all of you?
Imam As-Sa'di brilliantly summarizes this exact holistic approach. He stated that absolute Tawhid is both knowledge, meaning recognizing His perfect attributes and lordship, and action, which is practically singling Him out in your everyday worship. It totally proves that internal recognition means basically nothing without external application, and vice versa. They're like two wings of the same bird.
Section 3. Tawhid, the servant's actions.
Scholars have organized this massive topic to make it way easier for us to digest. One of the best ways to understand it is to look at it from the perspective of what we, the servants, actually have to do. Our role splits into two very clear lanes here. On the left side, we have the Qali or Ilmi aspect. This is the dimension of knowledge and statement. It's where you learn and firmly affirm exactly who Allah is. On the right side, we have the Amali or Iradi aspect, which is the dimension of action and will. This is where you take that knowledge you just affirmed and you let it drive your physical actions. You direct all your worship solely to Him and abandon literally everything else. Knowing who He is absolutely must lead to actively worshiping Him alone.
Section 4. Tawhid, the Lord's rights.
But, we can also flip the lens. If we look at this from the perspective of the Lord's rights, Tawhid is divided into three famous categories that make up the absolute bedrock of Islamic monotheism. First up is Rububiyyah, recognizing that He is the sole creator, the absolute owner, and the disposer of all affairs in the universe. Second is Asma wa Sifat, affirming that He possesses perfectly unique names and attributes with literally zero equal or comparison. And third is Uluhiyyah, the logical conclusion that because He is the sole creator with perfect attributes, He alone is worthy of all of our worship, love, and devotion.
Section 5. Quranic Anchors and Connections. Now you might be wondering, how do these academic categories actually apply to me? Well, as believers, we interact with them every single day. Just look at how seamlessly this connects in the Quran. The servant's action of knowledge, which fulfills the Lord's right of rububiyyah and attributes, is perfectly anchored in Surah Al-Ikhlas. Say, He is Allah, who is one. It's an entire chapter just dedicated to knowing who He is.
On the flip side, the servant's action, fulfilling the Lord's right of uluhiyah or worship, is anchored in Surah Al-Kafirun. Say, O disbelievers, I do not worship what you worship. That is a chapter entirely about the action of exclusive worship and literally drawing a line in the sand.
And this is where it gets really amazing, because it shows how deeply integrated this is in our everyday lives. Think about Surah Al-Fatiha, the chapter you recite in every single unit of your prayer. In just the first few verses, it perfectly encompasses all three rights of the Lord. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen establishes His Lordship. Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim establishes His perfect names and attributes. And Iyyaka na'budu wa Iyyaka nasta'in establishes His exclusive right to divinity and worship. You are literally declaring all three categories of Tawhid multiple times a day.
Section 6. Our duty as believers. The final synthesis.
So, we've learned the definitions and we've seen the categories, but how does all of this synthesize into an actionable duty for you and me? The scholar in our source material breaks down our role, the required human response, just beautifully. Think of it like this. In life, you encounter either news or commands. When Allah informs us of His majesty, His lordship, and His attributes, that is divine news. Your role is to react to that news with absolute belief, without even a single shadow of a doubt. But when Allah tells us to pray, to fast, to rely on Him, that relates to His divinity, and those are commands. Your duty is to react to those commands with pure action, without associating any partners or shirk with Him. It's that straightforward. Believe the news without doubt, act on the commands without shirk.
So I want to leave you with this provocative thought. Are your heart, your tongue, and your limbs actually fully aligned in this holistic Tawhid? Will you let this profound, structured knowledge actually transform the way you stand in your daily worship today? Thank you so much for joining us on this explainer. If you found this valuable, please make sure to subscribe, like, comment, and share this with anyone who could benefit. Jazakumullahu khairan.